A family discreetly makes their way barefoot through an empty store in a deserted ghost town among the countless, torn missing people flyers. Evelyn Abbott, Emily Blunt, the mother of the family, painstakingly searches through a collection of unopened medication bottles for her ailing eldest son Marcus, Noah Jupe. Evelyn assures her deaf daughter, Reagan Millicent Simmons, that her sibling is fine while also giving Marcus some medication. Then, when her younger brother Beau, Cade Woodward, is painting a picture of a rocket on the floor, Reagan goes to check on him. "Rocket. That's how we'll get away," he signals to Reagan before climbing the mostly empty shelves and reaching for a space shuttle toy. Reagan rushes to grasp the toy before it slides off the shelf. On their home farm, the Abbotts are at now. In the farmhouse's basement, Lee has installed a sophisticated surveillance system, including cameras and monitors, as well as his radio and other equipment, which he uses to try to reach any other survivors. Numerous news articles about an extraterrestrial invasion are also included, along with notes written by Lee that say things like blind, attack sound, and armor. In the meantime, Evelyn is in a cellar, hanging a handmade mobile there. Pregnant Evelyn is. She erects an oxygen tank and connects a baby breathing mask to it. It is next to a baby crib that is enclosed and soundproof. Lee is now at the top in his field. Reagan unwillingly tells Evelyn to tell her father that dinner is ready. They eat quiet meals on lettuce leaves rather than dishes after silent meditation. Later, when playing Monopoly with Reagan and Marcus, Marcus unintentionally knocks over a lamp, igniting the carpeting. Lee puts it out fast, and they wait patiently for the results. They appear to have escaped harm, but then they hear a loud boom coming from the top. Lee is startled but relieved to see a raccoon fall from the roof as he peers out of the window. To work on a cochlear implant processor that will aid his daughter's hearing, he descends into the basement. Evelyn descends where they exchange a set and a smile. Evelyn is in the cellar taking her blood pressure while Lee is dumping more sand on their walking trails. There are only a few weeks left till her due date. A robust, healthy heartbeat can be heard when she places a stethoscope to her abdomen. Reagan wants to go down into the basement but her father stops her. She enters the house carefully, only walking on the indicated, non-creaking areas of the floor. Reagan refuses to let him put the little amplifiers he added from a stereo onto her new cochlear implant processor because they never function. Disappointed, Lee delivers them to her instead and prepares to leave on an adventure. Marcus is wanted to accompany him. When Lee takes his son to the river, he tells him that it's good to make quiet noises as long as louder noises are close by. They can talk openly to each other without worrying that they will be overheard next to a waterfall. Reagan blames herself for what happened to Beau, so Marcus asks his father why he wouldn't allow her come and if he holds her accountable. Marcus advises Lee that if he still loves her, he should tell her since it was nobody's fault. Reagan has arrived at the pedestrian bridge where a temporary memorial to Beau has been erected during the course of our debate. She takes the toy space shuttle out of its packaging from her drawer and cuts it with the pliers. While returning home, Lee and Marcus are surprised by an elderly man emerging from the woods. They subsequently see his wife's body nearby. Lee begs the elderly guy to keep quiet, but he instead screams involuntarily. Marcus is swiftly taken up and killed by an alien as Lee takes him and flees. Evelyn's water breaks at home. She descends to the basement and steps on the exposed stairwell nail with her foot. She manages to hold back a scream, but she drops the photo frame she was holding, luring an extraterrestrial inside. Evelyn removes her foot from the nail and turns on the red lights that are located throughout. After arriving home, Lee is terrified to discover the red lights are now on. To his son, he signs the word rocket. Lee pulls out his shotgun while Marcus dashes to a preset spot and lights a fuse, setting off a string of fireworks, and says, "I need you to make a sound louder. You can do it." As Lee looks about the house, he enters the bathroom and discovers an empty bathtub stained with his wife's blood. When he realizes Evelyn is alive and hiding in the bathtub with their newborn boy, he stops crying and stops believing she is dead. Marcus, in the meantime, hears an extraterrestrial while returning to the house. He flees after him. After arriving home, Reagan sees Marcus' flashlight beam emerging from the cornfield but is unable to hear the alien approaching from behind her. However, as the extraterrestrial draws nearer, Reagan's cochlear implant processor begins to produce a high-pitched feedback, upsetting the alien and making it flee. Marcus is discovered by Reagan, and the two flee to the top of the grain silo. Lee had brought Evelyn down to the cellar and put his newborn in the crib. Before obtaining some much-needed sleep, Evelyn has Lee swear to watch over their kids as she thinks of Bo and laments not carrying him that tragic day. We observe water pouring into the cellar as Lee departs to search for the children. Reagan replies, "He'll come for you," shaking her head in response to Marcus's sign on top of the silo, "Don't worry, he'll come for us." Suddenly, a hatch on the top of the silo cracks, sending Marcus falling within. The noise draws the alien in the cellar with Evelyn out as he slowly drowns in the grain. Marcus just avoids being hit by the hatch as it totally detaches and falls into the silo. To successfully save her brother, Reagan jumps into the silo and pushes the hatch in his direction so he may get hold of it. She, however, rapidly blends into the grain. Marcus ascends the hatch and rescues his sister by pulling her out. Marcus and Reagan are sitting. Marcus and Reagan escape the silo by climbing into a pickup truck. Marcus screams as Lee, who has just arrived, grabs an axe before being attacked by the alien. The alien rushes to the truck and begins tearing it open after hearing this. This time, Reagan turns off her processor when it begins to emit searing feedback. The alien can safely resume attacking the truck at this point. Lee, who is severely hurt, looks at his daughter and says, "I love you. I have always loved you," before yelling to give his life to save the children. They roll the truck back to the home, put it in neutral, and meet up with their. When Evelyn and the kids hear the alien getting closer, they go back inside and down to the basement. Reagan, who was never permitted down there, finally gets to view the results of her father's labor-intensive repair and fabrication of her cochlear implant processor. Just as the lights start to flicker, she is overcome with emotion. They are surrounded as the alien descends into the basement. However, Reagan examines her father's scribbled note that asked, "What is their weakness?" before quickly scanning the hearing aids on his workbench. Then eureka! The alien shudders when she turns on the cochlear implant processor, emitting feedback. Then, by pressing the processor up against a microphone, Reagan amplifies the feedback. As the alien slowly rises to its feet after collapsing, Evelyn grabs Lee's weapon and blasts off its head. Reagan cranks up the speakers as Evelyn pumps the shotgun while sporting a sardonic grin when they notice on the surveillance monitors that this small brouhaha has seemingly brought every alien in the county to their home.